happens with therapists a lot too. I've only seen it in movies, but they talk about how like the therapist and the client like end up having a relationship, and because a lot of intimacy is born out of those relationships.
Well,
Right.
It's not real life,
interesting
but, like,
because
I imagine that it makes sense.
but I feel like every like for your therapist, you do have to be selective, and you almost kind of choose one as if you're dating them, in the sense that you have to find one that's a good fit for you, because there has to be a level of chemistry where you're able to open up and they're able to understand and empathize with your situation and your story. And if you find the wrong one, they're not going to be any help, because you're just looking at things from totally different perspectives, and the information they're giving you is not going to be helpful. And so not so much the dating side of it, but sorry?
You're saying that you should find the traits that you're interested in a partner. You should have those some traits,
no.
or those traits that, like, find in a therapist.
No.
No, the selection.
Hold on. No.
You're saying like the selection process is kind of similar. Like you're looking for a specific type of person.
Oh! Yes.
Like,
thank you for wording that better than me, Angel. Don't go date your therapist, guys. That's not what I'm preaching here.
We're not condoning to date your therapist, guys.
By no means. It's just the selection process is similar, where you should have set requirements and things you're looking for, because there's levels of chemistry that need to exist for the therapy to work, right?
Right.
Because you can go through 5 therapists that are wrong for you, and then you find one that works, and it's like it clicks, and it's like, this is the right one. I need to stick with this person, right?
Mm-hmm. Wait, what did Angel say? I heard hot.
I said if I ever walk into the room and it's like a really hot therapist, like I'm out. Like,
because that's how you know. Because that's the line, right?
We're gonna get too close.
So you have to have balance.
Balance.
Like, this is not the one.
This is not the one.
No, but I've had pretty bad experiences with, or like not great fits before in therapy.
And that's why it's like dating, right? You kind of have to trial and error things, not the physical side of it, but the process.
Right.
You have to explore, because you won't know what's right for you until you actually go out and try like different, things.
And I think that's what puts a lot of people off, right? They start with one therapist and they have a terrible experience, and they don't realize it's like dating. Just because that first person you ever dated didn't work out doesn't mean like I'm going to be asexual for the rest of my life. It just means you didn't find the right fit.
Yeah, what's crazy too is that most of the people that seek therapy are the type of people to get beat up from not finding the right therapist, or like feeling rejected in some way, or like not aligning with them. And so they're less likely to come back, because the type of people that need therapy are the type that are like avoidant, or just like don't want to face things. So it's already a step one to like actively seek out. And then if it's not a good fit, like you have to start back over, and it's just
discouraging.
It is discouraging.
Yeah, that's what I've realized, and that's what sucks about it, because, just that step to even get a therapist, with the stigma on mental health, like, nobody wants to admit that, nobody wants to do that, but it's like, that's already a huge step for them to do it. And also, when they find a therapist that's not a good fit, they're just like, you know what, I told you, like
this
it confirms to them that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, therapy is not for me, right?
I had a therapist who didn't know what LGBT was, and I had to sit through the rest of the session. It was our first session. He didn't know what LGBT was.
Oh, LGBT.
And I was like, lesbian, gay, bisexual. And I felt so like my body language said it all. Like I was like really close. I was like looking away. Yeah. And then I went home and I cried, and I was just like, it was so like heartbreaking that like it was my first time trying to seek out a therapist, and like this is how it went,
And that's clearly not a good fit, because then they can't empathize like at all, right? Like there's just no experience.
Like they don't even know what I am.
But my question for you though, Angel, is like, you got discouraged. That was like a horrible first time, with the first therapist that you matched with. How did you move forward though? A lot of people get discouraged. So what motivated you to keep on looking for the right one?
Well, yeah, I gave it some time, but at the time I was dating Mel, my past partner, and she has a background in therapy and family counseling, and so she was just like supporting me through it, and just like, just reminding me that it's going to take time. It's not always going to be the right fit. Because it's scary to get out there just, like, you know, seeking help when you, you know, especially when you're becoming aware and realizing, like, oh, I may need help. Or, like, oh, I'm experiencing a lot of, or I think I may have depression or anxiety. Like, and then, but yeah, I found other resources. I don't know. It did take time. Like, I think it was, like, a few months later that I finally was like, okay, I'm going to look somewhere else. Because especially I did low-cost counseling. What is it called? Sliding scale. For it to be affordable. And then that already, like, your choices are limited.
Well, I'm great that, like, she was able to support you and guide you through that. And, like, you were able to overcome that obstacle of, like,
because I might have not gone back after that. Because I was like,
that's a terrible way to start.
So
like, that would be really discouraging.
I know.
And you're just sitting across this person, just like for an hour.
Like, I paid money for this.
Because even like,
and he knew I was guarded too.
Even cultural differences, right? Like, if you have a therapist that doesn't know anything about Asian culture and you're trying to talk to them about your parents or something, it's like they're not going to be able to help you through that because they don't have that lens. They don't have that perspective of having gone through it themselves, or even just a familiarity with it, right?
That's why I like POC therapists, and also like it's easier for like women to relate to women and like men to relate to men, and so you know you can try like other things. Kind of. Normally, I before I used to say men or women was fine. Now I feel like you know a woman just makes more sense for me, and I try to ask for someone that, because of my PTSD from that one, I was like someone that you know. Kind of knows what LGBT is about, like has like experience in that area.
I feel like these days most people at least know what that is, right? Like, that's
like a lesbian, gay.
That sounds like such a.
He's like, and he was like, oh yeah, like it was like he had to think about it, you know, and that that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm glad that you know you found one that does work now. So that's all.
Sure.